Thom here with the Bible Study Storehouse, and I've been doing some recording of some segments for the other project we do, Green Home TV. I'm wearing the Green Home TV shirt today, and did a bit of shooting of some of the solar power generation systems that we've installed. And as soon as I'm done this, I'll cut in the video related to that, speaking with a number of people at the Passover conference this past, let me see, what was that, April, May? Nah, it was April. In the Gap, and talking with a number of you there, interest in what we're doing with that. So I thought I'd take an opportunity to share some of that with respect to the solar. And just behind me here then is the home edition project that we've been building as part of our Green Home TV project. This is actually, I'm just actually standing here in front of the house. This is where I grew up, this little place here. This is the original house that I grew up in here, family farm. The project started out here really as building this addition as a one-floor home, a one-floor living space for my parents. My dad actually grew up across the road, and his father bought this property then in around the 1940s, that kind of time period. And then renovated this place in 1965. The house behind me here was empty for about 50, 60 years until he gutted it in 65 and cleaned it up. It was mainly a house for coons up until that point. But he cleaned it up in 1965, and then a few years ago we started putting this addition on the side of it here. Basically 1,000 square feet per floor, so a 2,000 square foot addition with a full basement in it. That's where we've done some of our other recordings and webcast episodes from. Anyway, so that's just a bit about the building project here. But talking about that has brought up something I just want to share with, and that is just the nature of time and time constraints that we have. And I've been working on this building project here. The core of it took about a year and a half. The core of the structural and so forth. We're now doing finishes, baseboard trim, stuff like that on the second floor. The main floor was all taken care of. That was the important part to get my parents settled and taken care of. And the second floor is mainly bedrooms and that kind of thing for ourselves. That's taking a little bit more time. It has been taking so long, and there was something that Stephen mentioned when he was talking at the conference in Gap, which, by the way, we hope to have those recordings done shortly. But he mentioned that as he's been working through the book of Deuteronomy, just how long it's been taking to go through that book, and how it's almost like a comedy of incidents and diversions that come up that have kind of kept him or sometimes slow him down from getting that done.
This was supposed to be part of the book 2, then it got out of hand. And after, because Deuteronomy speech 2 starts out with the 10 Commandments. By the time I got done with the 10 Commandments, I had 134 pages already, and it was enough for a whole book. So I said, oh, foiled again. So I'm ready to start on book 2 now. I thought I had been writing it. I started this actually in right about the beginning of the prayer campaign. But I thought it was book 2 in Deuteronomy, but it wasn't. There was so much revelation that came, I had to write it down. And so there's 10 chapters in the book, one for each of the commandments. And what I'm going to do is to use a summary that I put in the last 2 FFI bulletins, a summary of the 10 Commandments. I'm going to use that for the other book, but I have a separate book now that has been put together. And I finished this up at 5 minutes to 3 on March 18. The prayer campaign, the Lord said, was to end at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So anyway, so that's kind of the story behind it. But I realize that there is a broader application as well that will go through the other book. And I will do my best to get that done on time. Do I have a choice? By next year, by this time, I should have them all done. But that seems almost hopeless right now. Nobody lets me finish, okay? I mean, I get visitors, I get phone calls, I get interruptions, and it's like sometimes it's a comedy trying to get this stuff done, you know. So,
Well, I kind of feel similar about this. A comedy of things that come up, diversions, whether it be business or family or all manner of stuff that comes up to slow down this building project. And yet, having said that, he reminded me when he was speaking of his writing through the book of Deuteronomy that Father's got it figured out, and it will be done exactly when it's supposed to be done. And I guess I've had to come to a place, even with this building project, to realize that as frustrated as I may be on some days and how long it's taking and my own time involved in it, it will be done when it is supposed to be done, and be at peace with that. Of course, that's not the only thing with time. Time constraints with respect to connecting with others. And that's kind of the other theme that Father keeps on banging on my head about is connecting with others and helping people get connected, and really just even in our own lives, taking the time to be connected with friends, even with my own family of 4 kids. And just making sure there's time for what Father wants us to do in all of it. So then on that thought, time, I found myself this past week spending some time at my local dentist. Now I knew that it was going to be a longer stay at the dentist, and so knowing that, I thought, well, you know, of course, a lot of dentists now have, you know, full audio video systems to keep you entertained and distracted while you're in the chair. Our local dentist here isn't quite that high tech yet, so I had to provide my own distraction in the form of my iPhone and some podcasts. And so I was looking through my phone to see what would be of interest to me for the roughly 45 minutes I was going to be sitting there, and remembered that Jesus Culture has been doing a leadership podcast. Really hadn't got around to listening to them yet, and so I went back into my library there on my iPhone and found episode number 1. Episode number 1 talking about community and the importance of community. Go figure. So I enjoyed as much as I could in the dental chair, 45 minutes being inspired with respect to what the teacher, and I apologize, I forget what his name is, but what he was talking about with respect to community and how important it is for all of us to be in community in some level. Now, I know that many of us that are in this ministry that have been learning from James and Stephen and Ron and others, we have found ourselves very set aside. We're doing kind of our own thing, individual. We may be even feeling a bit burnt from the times we have been in community before. And this podcast by Jesus Culture just reminds us that even though that may be our case, and even though Father may have taken us out to the wilderness to be taught alone for a bit, that in the big picture of things, we need one another. And so again, I would encourage you to find a way to get connected with other people around you. We're still working at ways to help get people connected. That is still coming together. You can let us know if you have a group in your area. We'll post it on our website, on our BibleStudyStorehouse.com/connecting page. If you have a group in your area or want to start a group and make that available to others. So those are my thoughts for today. And in just a moment, we'll cut away here and show you a bit of the power generation, the solar generation systems that we've been doing. And so thank you. Until next time. Thom Mills here, and I am out here today on a wonderful sunny day and standing in front of one of our microfit solar power generation systems. What you see behind me are 2 trackers, solar trackers. Each of these trackers have 5 kilowatts worth of solar panels on them. Basically 24 solar panels, 235 watts each on these systems, generating DC power. And the whole point of the system here is that we're generating electricity and putting it back into the grid. This was brought in as part of the microfit program and FIT program. We're located here in Ontario. That's where the program is. As far as I know, it's really the only place in North America where the government is offering a fixed rate for solar electricity being fed back into the grid. So we took advantage of this opportunity, well, about a year and change ago. We had these systems installed. This system, again, that you're looking at behind me here, was installed mid-January of 2012. That's when they went online. And they've been generating electricity ever since. Now together, as I say, there are two 5 kilowatt panels there. Together it feeds in as one system and is sending about 10 kilowatts of electricity back into the grid, especially on a day like today. We've got direct sunlight happening here. It's a bit in the afternoon, but these are generating about 10 kilowatts right now based on directional sun coming in. Now, you can also check this out on our website at greenhomepowergeneration.com. You can actually see the live updates of the power that this system is generating. But just to go back to the microfit opportunity for a minute, if you are someone living in Ontario, this opportunity is still open. Now you'd have to check, if you Google microfit OPA, you can get all the updates on the program there. You can also check out on our website at greenhomepowergeneration.com. We also have updates there on the status of the program. By the time you view this program, the opportunity may be closed, but for now, as we stand right now, there's still an opportunity to put in an application. Of course, really this is an investment opportunity. It's an investment opportunity for homeowners, whether you do a system like this, that is a ground-based tracker system, or whether it be a system that is roof-mounted. And both those opportunities are available under the microfit program. So this system here, this 5 kilowatt tracker system, made by Dagger Energy. The tracker is made by, second one just down there. Tracker meaning that these units actually track the sun. On the very top of these trackers, one up at the very top, little prism up there that detects the sun, one at the top and one on the left side, basically controlling the pan and the tilt, if you like, of this unit. Basically those prisms are reading the sun, where the sun is coming from, and turning the tracker accordingly. And of course, to do that kind of work in the back of the unit here, there are motors and what have you to tilt the unit, and that's the motor there, of course, to tilt it, and then what they refer to as a slew motor to do the panning. We are located in Ontario, and sometimes we get snow, so this unit from Dagger Energy has a slow load device on it. Basically, snow builds up on that sensor there, and as soon as it reads enough snow, the whole unit will dump the snow, kind of in a position like it is right now, all the snow falling off the panels. This, of course, keeps the panels clean. The panels, for the most part, are self-cleaning. Rain, what have you, tends to wash them off. A little bit of bird doo-doo on them right now, but again, in the next rain, that'll come off, or we could go ahead and get a squeegee and clean those. Now, these units were installed by Ethos Solar. You can check them out at ethossolar.com. There's also a link on greenhomepowergeneration.com for their website. We really appreciated working with Ethos Solar, really know their stuff, and was a smooth process all the way around. Of course, these panels are generating DC electricity. That's just the nature of a photovoltaic panel like this. These panels were manufactured in Welland, Ontario by OSM Solar, and 235 watts of power being generated by these units. The units are connected together, what they refer to as strings, connected together in series. This unit has 3 strings of 8 panels each, and each of the 3 strings are connected into an inverter. This is the inverter here, inverter made by Keiko New Energy. This is their 5002XI or 5002XI model, a 5 kilowatt inverter. The inverter is effectively the unit that takes that DC electricity, converts it into AC electricity for feeding back to the grid. So it's taking the sun's energy, converting it to AC, putting it through an electrical panel and out to the grid. It's also the inverter that measures how much power is being used and connects to the internet to provide the data logging and monitoring of the system. Really, there's 3 main components of a system like this then: the panels, an inverter, and a tracker. Not all units have to have a tracker. As I mentioned earlier, a unit could be roof mounted, or you could also be ground mounted, but be stationary in a ground mount position. A tracker really does increase the production output of a unit like this, about 40% more power, and really that becomes because the tracker, of course, is pointing at the sun. If right now it is late in the day, we are currently facing west. If this was a ground-mounted unit that was not on a tracker, that was stationary, and it was pointing south, we would not be getting, well, it would basically be dead at this point. It wouldn't be generating anything because the sun is just far too far to the west. But right now it's still generating because the tracker has the panels pointed right at it. Now in a tracker situation like this, what can happen though is, of course, because it's so large, wind can become a problem. These units from Dagger Energy are equipped with an anemometer that is basically, as you can tell, we got a little wind here today, is detecting the wind and tells the computer that's connected to the system how much wind there is. If there's too much wind, it'll literally put these systems into a flat mode so the wind can pass right by and not do any damage to them. What you're looking at now behind me is our second 10 kilowatt system. This system here has the whole 10 kilowatts mounted on one tracker. Tracker made by Magna Closures. Magna, a fairly large automotive and automotive parts manufacturer, making this tracker behind us. All 10 kilowatts on one tracker. Now it's kind of hard to tell and compare between the two without having them side by side, but this is a substantially larger tracker here. Other main difference with this tracker here is that it is astronomical based, meaning it has programming whereby it knows where the sun is and it follows the sun during the day. And that's different than the Dagger Energy system, which basically is tracking wherever the light is. Typically on a sunny day like this, the brightest spot is coming from the sun. But this unit here is basically tracking where it knows the sun should be. So it's always pointing exactly where the sun is, regardless of rain or shine. So this system features, again, all 48 panels on the tracker at once. These are 250 watt panels, slightly more powerful than those on our Dagger system. System here, just everything about this system is bigger in terms of the number of panels, concrete slab to hold this one in place, just the size of the tracker as well. Larger components, and there of course we have our 2 inverters. So this model here having our inverters both right on the side of the unit itself. We can get a little closer to these ones this time. Again, these are the Keiko New Energy 5002XIs. Each inverter bringing in 5 kilowatts of power, DC, converting the DC to the AC. So again, each one of them here doing 5,000 watts or 5 kilowatts of power, bringing that energy back through an electrical box here and out to the grid. And Magna Closures here with their computer-based control of the unit and where it's tracking. The tracking, of course, done with an armature there to track to tilt the unit up and down, and then a slew motor that turns the unit east to west. Every night this unit goes to a stow mode, goes flat, and turns around, gets ready for the next day's generation. So this has been a really brief tour of these two microfit systems. You can find, of course, more information at our website, greenhomepowergeneration.com. We're going to have more videos covering these units coming shortly if they're not there yet, so go check them out. And of course, there's more information on the microfit opportunity there as well. For those that are interested in anything that's 10 kilowatts, larger than 10 kilowatts, that is the OPA's FIT program. And we actually have an application in for 40 kilowatts to be built on the property here. That application at this point is still pending, but we're looking forward to being able to move ahead with that. Of course, part of the idea of the microfit program, beyond generating green power, solar power, was creating jobs in Ontario. And a lot of that has happened, and you can read more about that. In fact, we did an episode with OSM Solar, again, based in Welland, Ontario, that manufactures the panels. They spoke very well about what in the Welland area, what having OSM there has meant for their local economy. The fact that the solar panels themselves are manufactured in Ontario. The silicone isn't manufactured in Ontario. There's a few parts that aren't, but the overall assembly of the panels is manufactured there. That also goes for a number of the other parts as well. The CAECO inverters are assembled in London, Ontario. This tracker here, Magna, is manufactured actually very close to us, almost not more than 10 minutes away in Bradford, Ontario. And the Dagger trackers are manufactured in around the Kitchener, Ontario area, assembled there. A number of the motors and computer controllers for the Daggers are imported from Germany, but the core of the assembly and manufacturing is done in Kitchener. So that's a bit of a brief overview. Check more out at greenhomepowergeneration.com, and thanks for watching.